Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Welcome to Money Talk. All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. As you guys know, it is a beautiful day to be great. It's another wonderful day. And, I want to just tell you guys, hey, I know we always say TGIF, thank God it's Friday, right? Thank God it's Friday. Of course, we thank God it's Friday. But one of the things I also want to tell you guys that, hey, is another thing you got to remember. You got to also remember that you got to think, grow intelligently fast, right? That book is coming very soon, right? Think, grow intelligently fast. Do you think, grow intelligently fast? And it's very important that you do so that way you could be in a position to start winning the money game. And, winning that money game is very important if you really want to take yourself and your family to the next level to start doing amazing things. Because as you already know, the goal is not to just get by, but the goal is to create a strong financial foundation so you could be in a position to continue winning. So just like every morning and every day, I need you to light me up red. Light me up green, right? Go in the participant section, light me up green if you're ready to learn. If you are ready to learn, hit yes. If you hit yes, I'm going to teach. If you're ready to learn, hit yes, and I'll be ready to teach. All right? All right. I see the yeses. I see it. Okay. You guys convinced me. You guys are ready to learn. All right. So welcome to Money Talk. And it's awesome to have you guys on. It's a really great feeling, and we're going to continue to do amazing things. So, big shout out to everybody that's on this morning, and let's get into the teaching for today. So today, as you guys already know, right, it's important to have a goal, and it's also important to have a plan. And when it comes to your finances, what are the goals and what are the plans? So today I'm going to break down what is your goal. Now, is it fair to say that every one of you on this call right now want to have a strong financial foundation, right? Right? If you want a strong financial foundation, you can keep your yes where it is, right? But for those that are just coming in, if you want to have, is the goal for you is to have a strong financial foundation? Right? Let me see. I'm going to give a shout out to all the people that say yes. If you say yes, I'm going to give you a shout out. Let me see. We got Miss Cherie that says yes. Right? Me and Chantal, definitely a big yes on that. We have Miss Sheila Forbes said yes. We have Darrell, Mr. Ricky said yes. We have Evan, Cassidy, and Love that says yes. We also have Tony and Miguel that says yes. We have Miss Swan Flemings that says yes. We also have Miss Magdalene and Ricardo who says yes. We have Tiffany and Ishmael that says yes, right? All these folks says yes. They want a strong financial foundation, right? And it's important that we all got a strong financial foundation. But when we're creating this financial foundation, right? When we're creating this strong financial foundation, why it's important to have a strong financial foundation? Well, let's think about it. If you want to build something amazing and you want to do something great, you need a strong financial foundation. You need something more solid. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the things that you must have in place when you put these things in order, because it's one thing to say, hey, I want to do something good, but you don't have the right things in place. So here's the thing. Let's talk about the first thing, right? So when you're creating your financial foundation, guys, think about the idea of you building a house. And if you're building your house, you cannot build a house and start from the ground, right? Or you can't start from the roof and try to come down to the ground. No, if you build the roof first, what's the roof going to sit on? It's not going to sit on air unless you discovered something that I haven't discovered, but I've never seen someone build a roof first. You always build from the ground up, right? So it's the same thing with your finances. And let me tell you, many of us been building our financial foundation upside down. A lot of us. A lot of us go invest our money first, and then we try to create an emergency fund. Then we try to tackle our debt, and then later on in the years, you try to put together protection. Wrong. That's not how it's supposed to be done. The first thing you must do in order to do that, you got to build it from the ground up. So when you're talking about your financial foundation, you got to talk about proper protection. And when you look at proper protection, you got to make sure that you have proper protection in the event of disability, health problems, premature death, and if you have any disability. So why must you plan for these three events? Think about it. Can you ever predict? Can you ever predict when you will face any of these problems? And if you can't predict when you face these problems, that's the reason why you got to have protection in place. But what kind of protection? That's why you're here today, to learn. So when it comes to premature death, let's plan for the most, I was going to say deadly one, but literally it is the most deadliest one, which is dying, right? The one that you can't come back from. If you got a health problems, at least you'll go through some health challenges. If you have a disability, you may go through some disability. But if you die, man. That's why I tell you guys, it's not YOLO. You don't only live once. You only die once, okay? You YOLO. Okay, that's what keeps me going. When the young folks are like YOLO, singing it with Drake, I was like, YOLO, you only die once. I can live many times as long as I don't die, right? So the thing about it, guys, you got to plan for death. And there's 4 things you must have in place, and I'm going to give them to you. Write them down. First thing you must have is life insurance. The second thing you must have is something called a final expense insurance. And the third thing you must have is a will, and then you got to have a living trust. Those are the 4 things you must have. All right, life insurance, final expense insurance, a will, and a trust. Now, why? Make sure you get in touch with the person that invited you to come on to listen and ask them that. I don't have enough time to explain that to you today. All right, but those are the 4 things you must have in place to protect your family from if you prematurely die. And they explain to you exactly why you need those 4 things. Now, the second thing when it comes to health problems is that you got to make sure that you understand the difference between HMO and PPO, right? You got to know what is an HMO and what's a PPO. And you got to know why at 65 you got to enroll into your Medicare and why it's part A and B and how to enroll in it. So like I said, I'm just telling you these things so you can go back and ask the person I invite you and say, hey, he talked about these things. Why must we have this, right? Now, when it comes to disability, you must have long-term care, right? Because if you can't perform 2 daily acts of living, you're going to need some assistance from somebody. And you got to know who's going to be that person, or would you have enough money to pay for that person? So that way you don't have to become a burden to someone else. So, guys, these are things that we got to always make sure that we have in place when it comes to these events. But proper protection doesn't just stop at your health, your disability, or premature death. It also go on to, well, what is the proper protection in your home, your apartment? Do you have renter's insurance? Do you have the right property insurance? Do you have the good insurance on your businesses? Do you have the right liability insurance? Do you have pet insurance? All these things are proper protection that you must have in place as well, so that way you can be in a position to win the money game. Now, after you put together all your proper protection, the next thing you're going to do is tackle your debts, right? You should reduce your debt and your liability and get out of it as soon as possible. Why? It's because the interest on debt could limit you. Now, 2 things we don't teach families to do. We don't teach families to consolidate, and we don't teach families how to bankrupt. Or better yet, we don't advise it, right? But can we help you do it? Yes. But if we figure out a different way to teach you how to pay down your debt and build up your credit, that way may be much better, right? Because we understand that credit is something that we got to leverage, to acquire some assets in these days, right? So we understand that credit building is important, right? So the next thing we do is that we help families to put together the emergency fund. And why must you put together the emergency fund? You got to make sure that you have 3 to 6 months of your income put to the side. You have to. Me personally, I think everybody should have at least 1 to 6 years. The way the economy is right now and jobs and all the uncertainty on the horizon right now, it's important that we have enough money put to the side while we job search, or if we just want to take a break, or if you're going through a pandemic like we are right now. How long we've been in shelter in place? What, 6 months, right? Has it been 6 months yet? It's almost there, right? I think we are like 4 months. It started in what, February? So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, 6 months. We're going into 7 months of this whole coronavirus thing, COVID-19, right? So imagine that. How many of you guys had 7 months of income put to the side to not be affected by this whole thing, right? These are things why you got to make sure you have an emergency fund, right, for the unexpected things. But then you got to look into investment, right? We also show families that, yes, you must save and invest for the long run. You can't be an emotional investor. Don't be one of those emotional investors where you invest into something today and you expect it to be there tomorrow. I never understand that. People will look at me like, well, Ken, if I give you this money today, how much will it be tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know. I can't predict the market. I could give you some assumption based upon past performance, but past performance doesn't predict future performance either. It's an indicator, it's an estimator, right? But you can't be an emotional investor. So that's why we don't just tell you invest your money. Like some people say, oh, put your money into this and it will make you this. It's important for us to teach you what is your risk tolerance and what is your tax tolerance. You must know the two. You must know what is my risk tolerance and what is my tax tolerance. Because one of the things I tell people is that if you understand taxes, you will know where to put your own money. But the problem is, do you know your risk tolerance and do you know your tax tolerance? Do you know the 3 ways your money will be taxed when you need it? And do you know the different ways that you have risk tolerance? Meaning that, do you know the difference between a conservative? Do you know the difference between a moderate growth? And do you know the difference between an aggressive? Do you know your risk tolerance, right? And at what age and what time are you willing to take some of these risks? You got to know these things as you progress into your retirement years or you're getting closer to them. So once again, you must know 2 things before you invest. You must know your risk tolerance. You got to know your tax tolerance. And it's important that you know the difference between the two. Once you know those two, you will know if you're a type of investor. So all of these tasks, guys, right? This is your goal. Your goal is to create this strong financial foundation and build your financial foundation solid, right? Because right now, if you're looking and you hear me talk about a few of these things, my question to you is, do you have a strong financial foundation, right? When you hear all of this, do you have a strong financial foundation? Now, here's the thing, guys. Creating this strong financial foundation is an ongoing thing. It's not something that you just stop when you hit a certain thing. No, it's ongoing. It's an ever-changing thing. It's always upgrading. It's always being put together, adjusting as your life changes. Like if you think about the trust, you're going to acquire more assets as you go on throughout your life. So you may have to always upgrade in your trust. If you have a life insurance and then let's say that you got it when you didn't have kids and then you have kids, you may have to get more coverage or whatever, right? These are things that's ongoing, but that's why when you have a goal, you at least know what you're aiming for. The problem is that many of us today working and going in our life with no purpose. There's no purpose. There's no investment purpose. There's no emergency purpose. There's no debt purpose. There's no protection purpose. There's no goal. And you gotta have a goal. It's like living life on purpose. If you have no purpose, you won't have no desire. Say, I am awesome. Right? I want you guys to say, I am goal-oriented. I am goal-oriented. You got to have a goal. Every day, what is your goal? What is your goal? What is your purpose? What's your purpose for being alive? They say the day that a man discovers His purpose or his reason why he's alive is the day he start living his life. I found my purpose 2013. My purpose is doing what I'm doing right now. It's to educate and empower people. I live my life every day doing this, every day. I do it 365 days a year. I had no background in finance, no college background, nothing. And here I am, even to the point where I taught at colleges. Can you imagine that? No college background, but I'm teaching at colleges. Teaching finance at that. That's my purpose. I found my purpose. How many of us is living life without purpose? I'll tell you, find your purpose. It's not hard. It's not hard to find your purpose. And I think the best purpose we are all born on this earth to have is the purpose to empower people. I think that's a good purpose. I think that's a purpose that all of us can really strive to do. Empower people. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing. But what if you find ways that you can empower people by, I don't know, provide a service, provide, I don't know, feed the poor, I don't know, whatever, volunteer work, right? Do something that give back. They tell me that the best wealth in the world is to give wealth. And I said, man, I heard that and I thought to myself, and I said, man, I like that. The best wealth is to give wealth. The wealth of giving is the greatest wealth in the world. And I said, that's so true, because what do you get when you take wealth? Nothing. What do you get when you hoard wealth? Nothing. But when you start giving it and you see the smile on people's face, it makes you want to go get more wealth, because putting a smile on someone's face is worth a lot more than taking it. See, guys, life is about purpose. And your purpose in your finances, if you want to tie this to that, what's your purpose in your finances? To have a strong financial foundation for you and your family. And I encourage you to do it. But with every great goal, guess what you need? You need a plan. You need a plan. You got to have a plan. I hope that you know that you can't just wish your way to the top. No, you got to have a plan. You must have a plan, and the plan is very simple, guys. Let me break down the plan. The plan and our plan, when we sit down with every family, is to help every family understand how money works. You can't want to create a financial foundation you don't know the wealth formula. You can't. You cannot want to be wealthy and you don't know the way how to do it. How are you going to be wealthy? And not for nothing, guys. I love when people say, oh, I have a friend that have a friend and that friend. And I said, there's many ways to build wealth, you know. Some people will build their wealth in a tax bracket. Cool. Some people build their wealth in a tax deferred bracket. Cool. Some people build their wealth in a tax advantage bracket. That's cool too. But do you know how they're doing it? Or better yet, do you understand there's 3 different ways? See, when I build my wealth not based upon where it makes me the most money. I build my wealth based upon how I want my money to be taxed when I need it. You see, you're young now, but you will get older one day. I tell everybody this. There was a time in your life when you were young, and then overnight, you got older. You just looked up like, man, I got older. When did this happen? And now you need your money. But how is it going to be taxed? So that's why you got to understand why we say money plus time plus or minus rate of return minus inflation minus tax, and that equals wealth. You got to understand these different tax breakdown or this wealth formula that is given to us. So what is the wealth formula? The wealth formula requires us to have money talks, right? But it's not just me and you talking today. But are you having these money talks with your children? Are you having these money talks with your family? What are you talking about around the dinner table? When you eat dinner with your kids, are you complaining about the world? Are you empowering them with different financial education? What is it that you're doing? right? We need to change how we talk. Because Warren Buffett tells us, don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. So what I want you guys to say with me real quick is say, I am wealthy. I am wealthy. I am wealthy in knowledge. I am wealthy in time. I am wealthy in health. I am wealthy in happiness. I am wealthy. You know the greatest wealth you could ever acquire is time. You know, I read out an article that said the best thing you could give somebody is not money. It's not cars. It's not a home. It's not a purse. It's not a shoes. It's not a clothes. It's nothing materialistic is the best thing you can give somebody. They said the best thing you could give somebody is time. Because when you give someone your time, they know that's something you cannot buy back. You just gave them a part of your life. Time. Time is the most valuable asset. That's why you work so hard. See, that's why I tell you, many people think that they're working for money, but why are you working for the money? So that way you could go retire and enjoy time. Time is money. So let's talk about what you must do. I'm going to run through this real quick, right? You got to learn how to pay yourself first. That's how you find the money to start build wealth. You got to set aside 5 to 10% of your income. You better start buying only what you need. And if you make some of these small changes, it will bring you big money. It give you 2 examples. It's either you can spend $10 a day or $20 a day. But if you do spend that money, imagine that if you saved it. If you're saving $300, if you're saving $300 a month, and got an average of 8% interest on that money in over 30 years from now. If you did this 30 years prior, you'd have $447 plus $1,000 today. What if you were saving $20 a day? $600 a month. You'd have $894 plus $1,000. How many of you on this call, hearing these numbers, wish you were saving $10 a day years ago? How many of you? You can hit the yes button. How many of you wish that you saved $10 a day 30 years prior to today? And for all my young folks, if you don't save this money today, this is what you're going to miss out on later on. This is what you're going to be. You're going to be on a money talk like this 30 years from now. You're going to be hitting yes. I wish I did listen to Keyon 30 years ago when I came and listened to this thing. But you don't have to be that person anymore if you have time. So now people say, well, Keyon, what if for the folks that don't have time? Time is money, but procrastination is the enemy of savings as well. So here we go. What do I do for those folks? If you feel like you ran out of time, you better start learning about the rate of return. You got to understand what is the magic of compound interest and how the rule of 72 is a great indicator to help you to learn how much money you need to have. You better learn the rule of 72. Now, the rule of 72 was created by Albert Einstein, and Albert Einstein said if you take 72 divided by whatever rate of return you're getting in your money, that will tell you how many years it takes for your money to double for you or against you. So you got to know what kind of interest you're getting on your money, but more importantly, against your money. Now, do you know what's the interest that your bank is giving you? Do you know what is the interest on your credit cards, your mortgage, your car note, your student loan, your personal loans? Whatever that interest is, divided into 72, it would tell you how many years does the balance of that money will double against you. And then you got to think about what kind of interest are you getting, compound or simple interest. These things are indicators to let you know if you're winning the money game. How about inflation? Do you know what inflation is? Do you know what inflation is? Do you know how inflation happens? Inflation happens every time when our country prints more money than it actually earns. And the result is that everybody would lose some value of their money because the inflation is even considered to be a hidden tax system. See, inflation, guys, is the rise of price and goods and services over time. And if you don't start paying attention to what inflation is, it will hurt you. And it will hurt you in the worst way. See, inflation is something that you got to think about when it comes to your retirement. Are you planning for your retirement and thinking about what the cost of living will be years from now? Because if you don't, you won't be prepared for retirement. Don't plan retirement thinking about what things cost you today. Plan your retirement thinking about what things may cost you later on. Because it will be a lot more than what it is today. Did you know that? How about the simple fact that you got to know how taxes work? You must learn the 3 ways that your money get taxed. And you got to identify yourself and see, hey, am I one of the 85% of the people that believe that I should put my money and invest my money and save my money in a tax now bracket? Where you use vehicles like your savings account, your checking account, your CD, stocks, and mutual funds. Are you one of them 85%ers? Or are you a 10%er? You're probably a 10%er that say, hey, I'm going to invest my money and save my money in a tax later bracket, which is your 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, SEP IRAs, annuities, and pensions. Or maybe you are a tax advantage, a 5%er. Maybe you're part of the 5% that believe that Roth IRAs, 529 college savings plan, municipal bonds, health savings account, life insurance, and long-term care benefits are good for you to save. But that's why when it's important for you to know the difference, the meanings, right? It's important for you to know what tax now means. Tax now means that any earnings in these accounts must pay tax for that year. It also means that any dividends that is taken out of this money will be paid tax for that year as well. Tax later means that the money's pre-tax, and pre-tax is just a fancy word to say that you haven't paid any taxes on the money yet, and you will definitely pay taxes later on. So don't you ever mistake that. Then they got rules. You got to wait till 59 and a half before you touch the money. And if you touch the money before 59 and a half, you'll get a 10% penalty in addition to taxes. Also, you can't keep your money there forever. You must start taking it by your 70 and a half birthday or your 72 birthday, or you will lose 50% of your money. Those are the rules. Then you have tax advantage. Tax advantage means that you generally won't pay tax when you start taking the money out. This money is tax exempt. So that's why you got to ask yourself, which are you? Where's your investments? Are you going to be paying taxes now, later, or tax advantage? You know, someone once asked me and said, Keyon, if you could have designed your portfolio, how would you have it? How many of you want to learn how I would have had my portfolio when it comes to taxes, right? If you want to know how you could go into participate, hit yes. Do you want me to give you how I would have had if it was up to me, my personal opinion? You want to know how I would put my portfolio together? Who want to know? Hit yes. Let me see who want to know how would I have done it. And then you let me know if it makes sense. What if you could have designed your portfolio, right? And you could have had 85%. You could have 85% of your earnings into and savings and investing into a tax advantage where you could get 85% of your money tax advantage. And what if you still had 10% of your income in a tax deferred bracket, right? Where you don't mind paying your taxes, ordinary income on 10% of your income. And then you have 5%. 5% of your money inside of a taxable tax now bracket. Doesn't that sound a little bit more appealing in these uncertainty times when it comes to uncertainty with taxes? I'd rather have 85% of my money won't be taxed. I don't mind 10% of my money to be taxed. And I don't mind 5% of my money being taxed every year on any earnings. Right? I don't mind. If you guys want to think about a diversified portfolio, once again, how many of you have your portfolio set up like that? Right? See, guys, we got to understand these things. Because that's why we ask questions like, can you build wealth? That's what we mean by that. Do you understand how to build wealth? Can you build wealth? Do you know what the wealth formula is? When we say money, we're saying spend less, save more. When we're saying time, you got to invest your money long enough so it could grow. When it comes to rate of return, it's very important what interest you're getting for your money and against your money. When it comes to inflation, you got to make sure that your money is earning a rate of return higher than what inflation is. And when it comes to tax, you got to look for investment vehicles that have tax advantages. Question I ask again, can you build wealth? So what I want to do, guys, I want to open up the call now. And if you'd like to share, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback based on today, I want to hear from you guys, right? What is your big takeaway from today's call? If you'd like to share, just press that yes button, and I'm going to call on you, and I'll unmute you, so that way you could share with us as well. You know, what's your big takeaway? I'd like to hear your big takeaway from today, right? So that way we could get your feedback. So if you'd like to share, press yes. Go into your participant section and press yes at this moment, and I'll call on you. So that way you can share, and we'd like to get your takeaway. So I'll be looking, the call is now open for anybody that'd like to share. Just press yes, and I will unmute you so that way you can share. All right. Share, babe.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Chantal. I just wanted to share that, listening to this money talk reminds me, over and over again why at WSB we do what we do, because there's so many families who work their whole lives and, think they kind of are doing the right thing when they're putting together their family's financial plan, but they're not thinking about it in the way of building it from the ground up and kind of just making, I would say, stabs in the dark and hoping that it all comes together. But it's important what we do in educating and, showing them the right way, because we know the path and we know what the end result could be if they don't have this information. So I just, it motivates me more to want to educate families and continue to do what we do.
All right. Thank you for that share. Anybody else would like to share? All right. We have Miss Magdalene. All right. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear. Good morning. How you doing?
Awesome, man. I am focused and moving forward. You're supposed to say something. I'm focused and I'm moving forward. This is the part where you say that's what I like to hear. But then,
No,
and then
you know what it is? I'm happy hearing that because we know each other.
Definitely. So I wanted to thank you for especially inviting me to Money Talk. I want to say it definitely motivates me because the time fits my schedule. So I make sure that I come in, I listen. And the best thing about it, I was able to get my husband to come in and listen in with me this morning. So we like what we hear. And it's just reassurance that we're definitely on the right path with the right team. So we just want to continue to learn more and progress with WFG. So definitely thanks again for the invite.
Let me tell you, I am so happy to hear those words from you this morning,
Thank you.
I was just sitting here like, okay, yes, that's what I know.
I said, okay, should I press the yes button or what? It's Friday. Go for it.
Yes, I told you, you're a champ, man.
Definitely.
So
thank you.
happy for you guys. Let's do it. Let's do big things.
Definitely. Thank you. Looking forward to it. And pleasure hearing from you, Chantal. I like everything that you've been saying, and it takes a lot of courage to talk on the microphone. And I can say listening to you, reassuring me on what I'm doing, and working along with my partner reassure me again that I'm doing the right thing. So thanks again for always coming in and commenting and giving me that confidence that I need every day.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Magdalene.
All right. You guys have a great weekend.
You too.
You too.
Anybody else like to share? If you have any questions, feedbacks, we got to see Miss Victoria Gordon. Good morning, Miss Victoria.
Oh, good morning. Hello, everybody. Got on a little late, practicing my exam coming up. So I just wanted to say on Money Talk, very exuberating. I think I shared this testimony before. I'm used to working summer school and had no idea after 38 years that we were not going to be hired to work. And because we spent less during this COVID time, I was able to save enough, at least, and a little more, just by not spending, being very conscious of my spending and able to just enjoy the summer. Didn't have to take their little laybacks, kind of begging people that weren't hired, what few people they did hire, to come and clean for $25. I said, nope, not doing that. So I had enough money saved up, and I love knowing my taxes, which way I have the 403B, and I'm really focusing on where to roll my money over because I could retire this year. But I decided I'm going to try and hang in there for 2 more years because I love what I do. I love educating on every level. So thank you so much for the call. And very conscious of spending much less, being very conscious of compound interest, conscious of credit card interest, and telling myself, oh no, you're not going to make no money off of me. If I purchase something and you have a sale, I'll use the card for the sale, and I'll stand right there and say, okay, I'm getting ready to make a payment. I'll pay the cash on just so I can get the deals. You got to learn how to use the card wisely. So that's what I do. I get my deal, and then I stand there. I already had a cash to pay for it anyway, but I want to get the 10-30% off or whatever I'm going to get off. Then I pay the card immediately. I don't want them to bill no interest on me. So thank you so much for the call, for the enlightenment. Everyone have a great weekend.
Yes, Miss Victoria, you're doing it, man. And hey, you're next. You're next in line. You are a relentless campaigner, and we are just so fortunate to see your excellence. And it's inspiring because you show that it's not too late to learn.
And it is not too late.
Yeah.
I'm 66 and it's not too late. So in case they decide to give me the boot, I got something else. I got this campaign. Got a write-off for 1099. I've been studying up on the 1099s, the different levels of 1099s. I didn't know it was so many levels. I watched the news today, and they were talking about 21% in Connecticut have no emergency savings, and they said now the number has went up since COVID to 35%. So I'm very conscious now of my money and how I spend my money and how I do my money from coming on these calls. So I try to share with everybody. I can't control who doesn't come on. They like, what is this money talk about? And I say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So I just keep texting. That's it. So everyone have a great weekend.
Absolutely. Talk the truth, man. Yes.
It's never too late. You better tell them it's never too late. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Definitely never too late. Never too late. All right, we got Tiffany here. Well, good morning, Tiff.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Great call today. I just wanted to say every time that I listen to the call, I not only learn something new, I not only learned something new, but I'm realizing how companies and the people who we know in the world that are wealthy are doing it. You know, you think about the Amazons and, you know, the Trumps and all these other people who are not paying taxes. They completely eliminated that from the design, you know, for themselves to help create their wealth. And I'm like, man, I need to do that, you know? And like my mom said, the 1099 is where it's at, and that's how they're doing it. Inflation, nothing you can do about it. It's there. It ain't going nowhere. But if I can eliminate my taxes, you know, having to pay them, right, or at least just my fair share and as minimal as possible, I'm happy with that. And getting a better return on all my investments and making sure that I'm not personally investing in something that is going to dramatically fight against my time that I have left to build and accumulate my wealth. So thank you so much for sharing it. I love how you break it down, and not just making it practical, but making it real, right? It's like money talk is real talk, right? Because it's
Right.
you take those concepts and you make it real to life, so like anybody can understand it. So that's something that I really appreciate, and the more I come on, the more understanding I get. I'm going to be doing the same thing. So thank you.
That's right, man. It's all about the empowerment. The empowerment. Money talk is to empower you. And as long as you're empowered, we can go on and do a great thing. So, well, guys, as you guys saw, I broke down just a few of those concepts. Just for today alone, if you have any friends, relatives, or acquaintances that you would like to invite to come and learn more every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Sunday, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. We are teaching families every 4 days, 3 time slots a day, right? So like today, we have a 10 a.m. right after this. We have a 12 p.m. right after this. And then we have a 6 p.m. today alone. If you want to invite them and use this very same link that you're on right now, you could call in, you could log in. Just don't feel that you can't do nothing. Come learn. Invite your family. Send them the link and say, hey, these people are teaching people about finance. You need to come and hear this. And it's free. It is a free class. Okay? Come learn. It doesn't even take long. It's less than 30 minutes. It's less than 30 minutes. Take advantage of it, all right? So with that said, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for always supporting. And I just want to remind you of one more thing before we wish out. You are one decision away from changing your future for the better. So always remember that the choice is always yours, right? And I know I was going to wish out real quick, but I love hearing from my little people because you know what? I'm taking one more real quick. My little people are on today. I see Evan and Cassidy and Love. Let me tell you, these kids are not even over 13 years old yet, but they're on this money talk getting this information. And I think they want to share. So I'll give them an opportunity. I love the young kids when they're on these calls. Invite your children. Listen to this. So Sherry, if they want to share, they can do so. If not sure wanted to share.
Say good morning first.
Good morning. So I learned today that a lot of stuff is going on in the world, like inflation. Like how it's giving you less money because the government can't pay for all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And also, you said inflation is like a silent killer.
Mm. That's right.
Also, it's important to have a strong financial foundation.
Mm-hmm. And what else, baby?
That's right.
Pay for yourself first. Make small changes in big money.
All right. Great job.
Yes.
Great job.
Great job, sweetheart. Evan, did you want to say anything? No. Okay. Thank you for allowing her to share.
Yes, absolutely. I love my little people, man. They are the future. That's what it's about. That's what Money Talk is about. So before I go off, just because you inspired me, right? Cassidy, you inspired me this morning. And I just want you to say with me, Cassidy, say, I am smart.
I am smart.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
Never you forget that. I always remember that I am blessed. Never forget it. You guys are awesome. All right. On the count of three, let's all whoosh out, guys. 1, 2, 3. Let's whoosh. Whoosh.
Push.
World
One
team.
team. One team.
One
One
team.
team.
One system, one call.
System one call.
Be
Great
shiners.
weekend, everybody.
Diners.
Have a great weekend,
Great
everyone.
weekend,
Have a
everybody.
good weekend.
Day, guys.
Thanks, Keyon. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Good day, everybody.